good to know you are watching Afrique Media. Hello everybody and thanks for joining us on yet another edition of Inside Africa. News of improvement in Nelson Mandela's health will boost his supporters in South Africa and around the world who celebrate his 95th birthday this Thursday. The 13th of July is a day declared by the United Nations as a way to recognize the Nobel Prize winner's contribution to reconciliation.
A giant birthday card for a giant of a man. These well-wishers are attending a football match in honour of Nelson Mandela's 95th birthday. He's known here by his clan name, Madiba.
Happy birthday, Madiba!
As much as he's grown old, we still want to see him, going further. We know that he's tired, maybe he needs to rest, but we want to wish him all the best. We want to wish him to get stronger.
Long life, long life, long life, Father, please. Yeah, you've brought us far.
Last year he celebrated his birthday at his rural home in Kunu and was clearly enjoying the occasion, surrounded by friends and family. This one will be very different. He's been in hospital for more than a month now and is in a critical but stable condition. But his grandson Ndaba says he's been improving lately and he wants the millions of people inspired by his grandfather to spend 67 minutes, one for each of the years Nelson Mandela spent in public service, doing something good for their communities.
We just hope that he keeps getting better. And we're very excited, and we'd just like to say to the public that, the more the merrier, so let us all get behind Mandela Day and do our 67 minutes.
The Mandela Bikers is one of thousands of groups doing volunteer work. The girls have been taken from violent homes. Several have been raped. But this is a safe place for them. The former president's daughter Zinzi says children's rights is a cause close to her father's heart.
The slogan says make every day a Mandela Day. So it starts with 67 minutes. And we're hoping that it's going to grow, further where it actually becomes a way of life. And if each and every one of us are rising to our highest potential on a daily basis, we will then become like a collective movement for change.
The father of the nation's health may gradually be failing, but as thousands of people here and around the globe try to make the world a better place, it seems his legacy keeps getting stronger.
31 landlocked developing countries around the world, including over a dozen in Africa, are seeking solutions to increase costs they face as they transit through other nations. The geographical location of these countries makes them suffer extra transportation costs, imported inflation, investable resources, and less share of the international market.
Long delays in inland transport, customs and port handling procedures are common in developing countries across the world, especially those that are landlocked. Out of the 31 developing landlocked countries globally, 16 are from Africa. Poor infrastructure in countries of transit, complicated paperwork at border points are just but a few of the hurdles that are weighing in on landlocked countries. Transport experts meeting in the Ethiopian capital, Addis Ababa, are now seeking possible solutions.
The average cost of exporting a container for landlocked developing countries increased from $2,200 in 2006 to almost $3,000 in 2013. That's about a one-third increase in less than 5 years, while transit developing countries are only paying 50% of that cost.
For example, for a landlocked country like Ethiopia, which depends on the port of Djibouti for 90% of its import and export trade, or in other words, $2 million transaction daily, delay in delivery of goods within these countries is also a big issue. For example, it takes on an average 30 days to export or import in Africa, compared to about 22 days in Asia and the Pacific, 18 days in Latin America and Caribbean, and only 10 days in countries that belong to the Organization of Economic Commission and Development, OECD countries.
The one-stop border post at Chirundu, between Zambia and Zimbabwe, demonstrates how the cost of trading in Southern Africa can be substantially reduced by streamlining border procedures. The benefits of this particular border post have included reduced supply chain transaction costs, an increased volume of goods traded across the border.
However, transport experts partly blame the continent for the continued challenges of landlocked countries. Earlier discussions have been made on how to smoothen border transactions and mitigate costs for landlocked countries, but they haven't been fully implemented. Only a few countries on the continent have signed or ratified international conventions, and the level of implementation of programs and projects is too low.
We are now in Nigeria, where as part of measures at intensifying community policing in Anambra State, the governor Peter Obi has distributed 235 security vehicles to vigilante groups in the 177 communities in the state.
The event, which took place at the AFRIQUEMEDIA Square, Oka, attracted traditional rulers from the various communities, government officials and other stakeholders. Addressing the people, Governor Peter Obi reiterated that security is an important aspect of development in any society. He stated that community policing is a more efficient method of fighting crime, as those at the grassroots level can easily identify criminals living amongst them. Governor Obi further admonished the security groups to only work within the ambits of their communities and to avoid harassing those carrying out their lawful activities. The Secretary to the State Government, Honorable Oselo Kobaze, recounted the state of security in Anambra State before the present administration, noting that Governor B has done much in ensuring safety of lives and properties in the state. He commended the governor for establishing the synergy between government and various security agencies. Some of the traditional rulers who spoke to NTA News remarked that the initiative is unprecedented, adding that Governor B has always been a pace-setter.
We're very delighted at the progress that we're making in Anambra State, in the sense that this is the first time this type of event is taking place in all the southeastern states of Nigeria and Asia.
The governor further distributed checks of 1.2 million naira to each of the communities for the payment of 10 security agents from each community for a period of 12 months.
Now, officials of the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, have conferred with Ghana's Ministry of Food and Agriculture on the country's progress in the sector. The meeting, which took place in Accra, explored areas of collaboration between Ghana and AGRA.
The executive of the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA, are in the country for the 6th Africa Agricultural Science Week program. They called on the Minister for Food and Agriculture to discuss Ghana's progress in the agricultural sector and see how best they can collaborate to ensure food security in the country. The Minister for Food and Agriculture, Mr. Clement Kofi Humado, was grateful to AGRA for supporting Ghana in diverse ways to develop her agricultural sector.
You're all aware that the seed base for agricultural development is presently a little weak, especially at the farmer level. And AGRA has been helping over the years to develop the seed industry, particularly at the farmer level. At the same time, they have been very active in supporting agricultural development in terms of soil health, or for that matter, plant nutrients from the soil. So far, they've executed close to 30 projects in this country.
The president of AGRA, Mrs. Jean Karuku, lauded the government for creating the right environment for agriculture to thrive in the country. She said AGRA is working hard to break the barriers that exist along the agricultural value chain.
We do work with governments to try and get good solutions or good products where farmers can get access to finance at a lower rate, and also where banks also feel that this area has been de-risked. And we have good examples coming out of Kenya, Nigeria, Tanzania, and I'm sure it will happen also in this country as well.
The team for AGRA will also visit major agriculture-related institutions and projects in the country.
We continue to talk agriculture on this edition of Inside Africa, but we make a shift from Ghana to Cameroon, where the government has signed a pact for the detailed development in African agriculture. The pact was signed in the nation's capital, Yaoundé, on Wednesday by the ministers of Agriculture, Fisheries and Animal Husbandry and Economy and Regional Development under the patronage of the Prime Minister, Philemon Yang.
This official sign, which makes Cameroon a full member of the Pact for Detailed Development in African Agriculture, known in its French acronym as PDDAA, signed July 17th, saw the attendance of several government officials, civil society operators, African Union representatives, and members of the economic community of Central African states, just to name but these. The PDD initiative is a forum for political and technical dialogue in order to make priority choices in matters of investment in rural sectors with the aim of improving agricultural productivity, with the aim of improving agricultural production and productivity for the African continent. The Minister of Agriculture, Esimi Menye, reiterates the importance of this pact to the Cameroonian economy.
The signing of today will help the government put in place the national program of investment in agriculture. As you know, since July 2003, African leaders in Maputo have decided to enhance investment in agriculture so that African countries will be able to feed their population. Now, today, the Prime Minister came here to officialize the movement, if I may say, in the direction of the second generation agriculture in Cameroon. In signing this document, we will put in place all the instruments, all the knowledge, so that by December 2013, we'll be able to put on the table to the head of state the national program of investment in agriculture. That means that not only will be investing in agriculture per se, but we need also to train more people because we need to bring young Cameroonians into agribusiness.
It should be recalled that African countries import 60% of food products from the Western world. It is for this reason that during the July 2003 Maputo Agreement, African head of state called on Africans to make agriculture the heart of the economy. It should be noted that this pact is out to ensure food security for African countries, fight against malnutrition by providing its member states with quality agricultural products. Presiding over the ceremony, Prime Minister Philemon Yang reiterated the fact that the President of the Republic, Paul Biya, is counting on agriculture to make Cameroon an emerging economy by 2035.
Bringing you more news from Cameroon, non-governmental organizations and the civil society are pressing for more accountability and participation of citizens in decision-making in the councils across the country. A national forum was organized in Yaoundé on July 17th, during which mayors and participatory budget advocates brainstormed on the promotion of collaboration between municipal authorities and the inhabitants of their localities.
Participatory budgetary allocation in Cameroon was introduced 10 years ago, but to this day, council authorities still carry out projects which are not a priority to their localities. Roads are constructed where health and education sectors are more of a priority, just because the council authorities fail to communicate with the inhabitants of their localities to find out what their priority needs are. It is for this and other reasons that the Cameroonian Alliance for Local Participatory Budget and Finance organized a national forum on participatory budget in Yaoundé this July 17. The forum brought together public administrators from across the country, NGOs, CSOs, and some international organizations to brainstorm on strategies that will enable citizens to actively participate in decision-making to guarantee the development of their municipalities.
I think that we are still at the very beginning of it, because we have just elaborated a communal development plan. And it fits, particularly well fits what is required of us. And I am certain of one thing. We are going to implement it absolutely, because we are bound to, and we have been elected for that. Our populations have got to see the results and to see exactly what we are doing as the elected people.
It was revealed at this forum, which is a third of its kind, that since the introduction of participatory budget 10 years ago, only 94 out of the 379 councils nationwide have tried to implement it. The implementation of this budgetary system still faces many challenges, like the mastery of the system of governance, the mobilization of citizens, and revenue issues.
We are going to work in collaboration with the populations. It is a tripartite, let's say, organization. The populations, the council, and the civil society. And how are we going to work? Because most of the time when some of the people hear that we were asking for participation on that budgets, some of the populations fear. No, it is just the consultation we make with them. We go towards them and we ask them what is most needed among themselves. And after asserting those priorities, it is at that time that we can start helping, giving them the hand. And with our partners, with the states, I think everything is going to be okay.
It is expected that this forum will encourage accountability, responsibility, and collaboration between council authorities and citizens for an emergent Cameroon.
Away from Cameroon, teachers in Kenya have called off a nationwide strike shortly after the government announced the indefinite closure of primary schools. The Kenya National Union of Teachers, KNUT, took the decision following talks with Deputy President William Ruto.
The teaching fraternity had abruptly halted the honeymoon for President Uhuru Kenyatta and his deputy William Ruto, less than 100 days after the assumption to the country's two high offices.
This is an issue that you agreed 15 years ago, when some of us were nowhere close to being anywhere in government. Now we are only here for 3 months, and you're telling us what two governments over a period of close to 15 years have not delivered, you expect us now to do in 3 months. My friends, let's be reasonable.
And for 2 weeks, the government pleaded with the teachers' union to call off the strike with little success, prompting a change of tact. Behind the scenes, intrigues indicate that the government resolved to play hardball to break the spirits of the 270,000 members of the Kenya National Union of Teachers and their top leaders.
You see, there is no question about it. If you choose not to remain in work, you have sacked yourself. Yes.
With no solution in sight, the government, by withholding the teachers' June pay, had touched their underbelly. With financial challenges and unpaid bills, some of the teachers appeared to cave in, despite the NAT officials appearing resolute.
And because of the intimidation, we are more prepared to travel the mile, however long it takes.
The government, by pushing a contempt of court case against the teachers' union leaders, had resorted to coercion and arm-twisting tactics. That's why withdrawing the court case was the principal condition for calling off the 3-week-old strike.
The second and third respondents, their leadership, cannot be allowed to benefit from their own mischief to escape the long arm of the law in this matter.
Industrial Court Judge Lynette Ndolo was to rule on Monday coming week whether to jail the NAT officials for contempt of court, but the case now appears water under the bridge. A spot check across the country indicates that trained but unemployed teachers had begun heeding to the government's call for applications to replace the striking teachers. With over 270,000 jobs on the line and the government standing its ground on the increased pay demands, sources indicate that the teachers' union had to retreat.
And by the way, 534 is house, medical, and commuter.
The government also employed the divide and rule tactic to water down NAT's demands by signing a deal with NAT's rival, the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Teachers, KUPPET. It was only a matter of time before the teachers' strike fizzled out.
Those ones are scavengers. They're only purporting. What were they negotiating when they were not even on strike, which never was? So really, we negotiated, and we have signed agreements. We know where we negotiated. So those facts are very clear. Next question, and the deal is older than KUPPET, by the way.
But ultimately, a decision by the government to close all public primary schools and withhold the teachers' salaries seemed to corner Sossion and his team. For now, the teachers return to work, but the pupils in the public schools have to play catch-up, especially the candidates set to sit this year's KCPE and KCSE exams.
Now, the Ugandan government has confirmed it is ready to hold peace talks with the Allied Democratic Forces ADF rebels, who are currently destabilizing parts of Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo. Former Internal Affairs Minister Hilary Onek says Uganda would consider such talks with the rebel group if approached to resolve the crisis in the Great Lakes region.
The number of registered Congolese refugees in Bundibujo now stands at 65,000, with more reported to be on the way. Last Thursday, thousands of refugees fled their homes in the Democratic Republic of Congo after the Allied Democratic Forces rebels attacked Kamango border town. Now the government says it is ready for talks with the ragtag outfit ADF that is operating in the jungles of eastern DRC.
War is not a desirable option, and our government is ready with open arms to talk to anybody who has grievance, whether you are ADF.
The Ministry of Disaster Preparedness acknowledges that the numbers are now overwhelming.
Before the recent influx of refugees in Bundibujo, Uganda was already hosting more than 210,000 registered refugees and asylum seekers, 63% of whom originate from DRC.
In Bundibujo, the situation is worrying after an outbreak of diarrhea in the refugee camps. By early this morning, more people were flocking Nyakauka District Hospital to receive treatment.
Cases of diarrhea are raising up. Currently, we have 26. And the malaria cases, we have 28. Problem we have no medical assistance like drugs. Like the ORS we don't have, yeah? We have only anti-malarials in stock.
But that is not a sign of an epidemic. Yeah. So it's reported, and I think Nyahuka Health Center does not have enough drugs. We've contacted Ministry of Health to send backup medicine.
Authorities in Bundibujo are now pushing for schools where these refugees have been camping to reopen as soon as possible. 7 schools had been closed down due to the refugee influx.
Surely the critical need is how to put in place the toilets. We are making sure that on demand schools open officially.
The ministry says now the emphasis is on settling these people in alternative places where they can be well taken care of.
The refugees population will have to be moved to Changwali refugee settlement within 3 weeks if the situation has not normalized in Congo. This is occasioned by the limited land available in Bundibujo.
On Sunday, the government started transferring some of the refugees to a transit camp in Bubukwanga. The exercise continues.
That report brings us to the end of this edition of Inside Africa. Thanks for always taking our time to be with us, and keep watching Afrique Media for more news.